Welcome trainers to the ultimate guide for Crustle in Pokemon Unite. Crustle is a defender type Pokemon with varying difficulty depending on the build you go to. First, let's talk about who is going to enjoy playing Crustle so you know if you even want to watch this video. Crustle is a big beefy tank that has two builds you can go. One build can be a very fast around the map, kind of high attack build that can just soak up a bunch of hits, or you can build him as more of a battlefield controller who uses barricades to block opposing Pokemon in and out of the fight. I will say that in my opinion, Crustle is the best tank type Pokemon for a novice player, and we'll talk about which build is best for that in the game. So if you're brand new to the game and you're looking to be able to fill a defender role, maybe even sometimes just when your team is lacking, Crustle can be very good to pick up because of its simplicity of use with one build. Whereas the other build can also be very nice for high level play, building barriers, blocking off walls, and creating all kinds of trouble. So it's really good for both the high and low level kinds of players. Now let's jump in and start taking a look at each and every ability this Pokemon has so we can really understand what's going on. First up, let's look at these basic attacks. Crustle does have a boosted basic every third attack, just like most Pokemon, and his drops this nice little rock animation, which deals damage in the area of effect and gives a small movement debuff, which means you're slowing your enemies as you do it. Crustle has the perfect passive for a tank. It's called Sturdy. Every time you lose a certain amount of HP, you get increased defense and special defense, meaning the lower your health is, the harder you are to KO, which is perfect for the defenders. Now let's start jumping in and taking a look at the abilities we're going to use. At level 1, we're going to first make a decision between Fury Cutter and Rock Slide. I personally prefer Fury Cutter, which slashes opposing Pokemon with claws, dealing damage to them. Hitting the same opposing Pokemon multiple times in succession with this move increases the damage dealt. Fury Cutter is the solo target higher damage option, which I like to take at level 1 just for a little bit faster clear getting into lane. Then at level 3, I am going to pick up Rock Slide. This drops some large rocks on the designated area. This is an area of effect attack. When this move hits, it deals damage to opposing Pokemon in the area of effect and leaves them unable to act for a short time. So Rock Slide at level 3 is nice because you're going to start to potentially run into opponents in lane, and you can get that little bit of stun, which can be nice for your partner to maybe pick up an early KO. Now I will say until we get to level 4, be very cautious. You're really just farming until you get to level 4, and that is when we evolve from Dwebby into our fully fledged Crustle. We also at level 4 get our first choice on which build we are going to choose. So we need to choose between Rock Tomb and Shell Smash. Now here is your big decision on how you are going to build. If you are a novice player and you just want a simple, effective, easy build, pick up Shell Smash here. This is the way I play Crustle. I'm not a very good defender, but Shell Smash is really simple and strong to use. So Shell Smash has the user smash their shell, converting a set percentage of defense and special defense into attack and special attack, and it also increases your movement speed an absurd amount of time. Now the other reason that this move is so good is that it has a 6-second cooldown, but the move itself lasts for like 4 seconds, and so it has almost no cooldown, and you can just be shell smashing your way, running around the battlefield like a madman, and really just going crazy. And also the other thing to note is as your health lowers with your passive, your defense and special defense are increased, meaning whenever you shell smash with lower health, you actually get even more attack and special attack, and you really can kind of run away with the game if you're able to get a lead. So if you're a novice and you're just jumping in for the first time, pick up Shell Smash, use that ability to roam around all over the battlefield and just go crazy on your opponents. Very simple, but very powerful. Now the other move, let's talk about Rock Tomb for a minute. This is the move I was talking about if you're wanting to manage and control the battlefield. Higher skill cap, but also higher potential if you know what you're doing and you have a good team. Rock Tomb splits open the ground toward the designated area, dealing damage to opposing Pokemon in the area of effect and creating a barricade of rock. If used again, this does get rid of the barricade, which can be dropped. Now this does have some nice damage output, and it can hit the opposing Pokemon on the little dig looking mechanic as it goes out, and then when it comes up it can deal damage again. But the biggest reason you would be using this is to potentially create 2-on-1s on your side of the field by trapping an opposing Pokemon, or also because you can see this has such absurd range and width on this barrier, you can block off the entire corridor next to Zapdos if your enemy team is trying to come in and you want to create a situation where your team can get Zapdos by themselves. Now, as you can see, or as you can imagine, there are just almost infinite amount of uses for where Rock Tomb can be good, but the downside is a bad Rock Tomb can kill you or a teammate. It can prevent you from scoring when you should. You can be putting walls where they shouldn't be, and this is really a high skill cap move, so don't pick this up unless you're confident you know what you're doing and you understand the game. So now let's keep moving on. At level 6, we're going to get our next upgrade, and we are going to choose between Stealth Rock and X-Scissor. I will say, regardless of the first build here, you should effectively always choose X-Scissor. It's much better than Stealth Rock in my opinion. X-Scissor has the user dash forward with crossed claws, dealing damage to opposing Pokemon multiple times and shoving them back, again, multiple times. This leaves the opposing Pokemon unable to act if they hit or if they hit an object when shoved. So obviously you can see a nice little combo there with X-Scissor and Rock Tomb. If you're able to do that, you pop up the Rock Tomb, you X-Scissor them into it, creating a stun effect. But also, even if you're going with Shell Smash, X-Scissor can push opponents so far, it can keep them out of a battle for so long, its damage is good, and you can also just practice lining up and hitting them against the normal walls that are in the arena. So, in my opinion, always pick up X-Scissor. It is a beater of a move and has such a wide area of effect. You can actually trap multiple opposing Pokemon in that effect and pushback and potential stun. Now, I will go ahead and talk about Stealth Rock just so we understand what it's doing. As always, feel free to try it out, but I don't think it's very good. Stealth Rock throws many small rocks when a rock hits an opposing Pokemon, or when the rocks have flown their full distance, as you can see on the screen. A zone of many levitating rocks is created, dealing slowly increasing damage over time to opposing Pokemon in the area of effect. The one situation I can think of where a Stealth Rock would be better is if you're playing with someone like a Slowbro or potentially an Alolan Ninetales that can keep them in your Stealth Rock, but it is just so hard to use effectively. It does have a slightly higher damage potential than X-Scissor overall, but you're also giving up that stun, and you really have to combo this with someone else to be good. So most of the time, we're going to be taking X-Scissor. Now let's take a look at level 9, our Unite move, Rubble Rouser. This is effectively just a super amazing lockdown Rocky Helmet kind of ability. This grants the user a shield for a short time and leaves nearby opposing Pokemon unable to act. So you are really shutting down potentially an entire team, dealing damage to them over time. If you receive damage while this move is in effect, it also deals additional hits to nearby Pokemon. So this is quite the strong move. It deals damage to everyone around you, it locks them down, and if someone deals damage to you, it's going to act as a mirror and reflect that back. Super good team fight mechanic. This is amazing to pop in the midst of a big Zapdos team fight, and is just a really nice overall move that pairs nicely with the rest of what Crustle is trying to do. Now, before we jump into the arena itself, let's take a look at these held items we are going to be taking. Now, up first, we are going to be taking the Rocky Helmet. This is going to increase both our health and our defense, but at the same time, it is always going to reflect some of that damage back to opposing Pokemon when we take it. As a tank, this is just really nice. Crustle is a tank that wants to deal some damage himself, and so getting that nice little boost of damage back with the Rocky Helmet can be very good. Now, up on the other side, in order to boost our special defense, we are going to take the Assault Vest. This will give us more health, that special defense we want, and it gives us that really nice perk of giving us the special move shield once we get out of combat so that nobody can jump on us and gank us too easily. Up last, I prefer to take the Focus Band. This just gives us more defense and special defense, as well as that ability to recover some HP when we're at such a low health. Now, also for our held item, let's take a look at what we want. Now, I think you have two options. I think you could take the eject button, which would be my preference, but if you are going to build Shell Smash, you have good mobility already and could potentially slot in a potion if you want, but in general, I would take the eject button. Now, just a couple of quick tips once we get into the arena itself. Crustle should be going probably bottom lane, can go top if he needs to, but rarely should go in the jungle. Now, once you're a defender Pokemon, your role is always to be in the front line. Keep that in mind. Don't be playing like a mage or a ranged attacker. Your abilities allow you to take hits more than anyone else. If you are going with the Shell Smash X-Scissor build, also play a little bit like an attacker, like a Garchomp or a Lucario. You're going to be jumping in, dealing damage, charging into battle, really soaking up all that HP damage that people are throwing at you. You want to almost always be positioning yourself between your ally that you take with you in lane and the enemy team, because you're going to last much longer than they are. Be sure to let teammates farm a little more than you. It's a little more essential to get that damaging Pokemon that you're with the experience than you, but as I said, don't be afraid to go for those KOs. Now you can rotate once in a while, but for the most part you should be owning your lane and letting your jungler help you get those kills. So don't go to the other lane unless you see a big team fight happening or it's really skewed. Now once we get to Zapdos in the team fight, you're going to be really essential. You need to position yourself to be ready to take up the hits from the opposing team, so you should also be a little bit of a sentinel, watching out with keeping your eyes open for the opposing team, and as soon as you get 3 to 5 opponents near you, lead off and pop that Unite move, giving your team a bunch of shutdown and allowing your team to clean up the other team while you're going for that Zapdos fight. Now I hope this guide has been helpful to you today. If it was and you want to see all kinds of other guides for Pokemon Unite, please hit that subscribe button. But other than that, if you jump into the battle with Crustle the next time, I hope that battle is your best one yet. Have a great day, my friends.